Hello chess fans, in this video we are going to have a look at another absolutely incredibly insane game played at the World Rapid Chess Championships in New York. There have been played so many brilliancies, so many blunders, so much drama. Unfortunately I cannot cover all, but ladies and gentlemen, this is something you really don't want to miss, especially when you look at the beginning of this game till the very end. It's absolutely unbelievable. This really happened at the highest level. We are going to have a look at a game played between two American players, Grandmaster Brandon Jacobsen against Hikaru Nakamura. What a game it is, guys. If you do like the videos from this event and in general my channel, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because, well, I would like to cover the World Rapid Chess Championships next year as well. I need your support. So thanks for all the overwhelming support, but it can never be enough. So keep it growing, the channel. And, well, here we go. Brandon Jacobsen. Really, guys, it really happened on move 1. He played here the absolutely incredible move 1a4. Why on earth would you play this move on move 1? What is the purpose? You are being taught to play in the center, to put a pawn in the center, to develop your pieces in that direction. And why would you play such a pawn move? Well, there's a big story behind this move. Hikaru goes for the move e5, and well, some months ago it was Brandon Jacobsen who dominated the online scene here, playing this incredible move rook a3, sacrificing the rook on move 2. This is absolutely insane, and even more insane is that he really got fantastic results with it as well. He won some beautiful attacking games. Of course, it's not the greatest opening, otherwise many people would have been playing it also in more serious games. But in blitz games it can be a really fun opening to try. For this occasion, for the Rapid event, 15 minutes plus 10 seconds increment, he decided to go back to a more sensible continuation by playing the move e4. But anyway, we're back in a well-known position with 1e4, e5, where on move 2, white plays a4. I have never seen something like this. It's not like a huge blunder. You're not giving away anything, but it doesn't really contribute to white's development. But okay, let's see how it goes. The good thing is that we just have a game from move 1, move 2. And, well, both players are on their own. They have to come up with something themselves rather than blitzing out 20 moves of opening theory. Here we go. Knight f6, attacking the pawn. Knight c3. Hikaru plays bishop to b4. Looks like a very natural response to attack the knight, having ideas to take the pawn on e4 very soon. But look at this. Knight d5 played, attacking the bishop. So no time to take the pawn on e4. Hikaru decides to take on d5, pawn takes d5, and now interesting moment. Hikaru played a very logical move. He decided just to castle here. But I would like to point out one little idea of this move a4. If you're careless and you play something like d6 with the idea to get your bishop out very soon, well, that runs into the move c3, attacking the bishop, and if the bishop goes away you can chase it with the move b4, and after bishop b6 it's a5 and the bishop is trapped. So maybe that is a hidden idea. Well, now this is not something we expect to see happening in a game played by a 2800 player. Anyway, black castled here. White goes for the move c3 anyway, but then there is the move bishop e7. So the bishop can still go back, it's safely placed. But now the question is this double pawn, is it really useful for white? On one hand, it makes it harder for black to develop his queen side. Well, let's see how it works out. Bishop c4, black goes for the move d6, and white developed the knight to e2. Interesting idea. Now, position is full of ideas. I mean, what I do like about black's position is the majority, the ideas to push with f5 very soon. But okay, these kind of majorities, they can only be really threatening when other pieces are really well developed as well. So black also has to think about how to bring these pieces into the game. Hikaru felt like he needs to start here with knight e7, which seems to make some sense as well, but they followed the move d4. So white is opening up the center so the bishop can be developed. Now, well, there are ideas to take on d4, but looks like white is doing okay there. Instead, Hikaru played the move c5. So he's asking white to capture en passant, but that is a possibility. But I think white correctly judges that the pawn on d5, it's grabbing space, it's taking away squares from the black pieces. So white castled instead. Queen c7. Here you see that black is about to take on d4 when the bishop on c4 is hanging. So this is the moment to take on c5. Black recaptures with a knight, and all of a sudden it does look like a fairly normal position which could arise from 1 e4, e5 or even some sort of Sicilian. Still, the bishop may become a problem. It's unprotected, although it's not under an attack here yet. White played a5 and grabbing more space on the queen side. What should black do? Black played here this move bishop to g4. Bit provocative, like you're pinning the knight on e2. So white plays f3, and here the bishop goes back to d7. So bishop is looking solid. Bishop goes to e3. So now white also has completed his development, and again it's a position where both sides have their trumps. Like white is having an extra pawn on the queen side. Black has ideas to bring up his f pawn, which is very typical in a lot of Sicilians. Think about the Najdorf, or think about the Sveshnikov, for instance. Anyway, Hikaru has a different plan. He played here the move b5. I'm not a fan of this move. It's in a way understandable. Like if you do take en passant, then you're following it up with the move b5, and you are having quite some nice play with open files for your pieces to play on. So that is something white is not really looking for. Again, the pawns on a5 and d5, they're quite good. They are depriving the black pieces from becoming active, and Jacobsen played an excellent move. He dropped back with the bishop to a2. Now the bishop is not doing much there yet, but who knows, maybe later it can become a good piece. First of all, pawn on a5 cannot be taken because of b4, and the knight is lost because of this double attack. So after bishop a2, rook a c8 played, and white played queen d2, connecting the rooks before starting the action. Black went for the move rook f e8. Again, I'm thinking black is looking for ways to launch the f-pawn. Maybe bishop f6 soon, f5 first, and then at some point try to strike in the center to create some counterplay. But white is faster with his play. b4, attacking that knight on c5 is an excellent move. Where should the knight go to? If you go to a4, I think there's rook fc1, and there are plans to go c4 next. That knight on a4 does look very strange. So Hikaru felt like the knight can better go to a6, but please, this is not how we are supposed to play chess. This knight is horribly misplaced at the side of the board, and you cannot win it. You cannot attack the knight, but it's out of play. It's really badly placed. It doesn't have a future. Rook fc1 is an excellent move. Queen b7, anticipating potential play on the queen side, and indeed that play is coming right away with the move c4. Pawn takes c4, bishop takes c4, adding more pressure to that knight on a6. And here, the pawn on b4, it cannot be taken. It does allow rook ab1, and the knight is pinned. It cannot go away. Even if you protect it with rook b8 one more time, there is a6, and the queen is deflected from the support of the knight. If the queen goes away, then it's rook takes b4 and white wins a piece. It's a very important line, but it does show that the pawn on b4 cannot be taken, not by the queen, not by the knight. Knight goes back to c7, and here you see that black is trying to get some sort of a blockade on the b5 square, but white is first. White played the move a6, attacking the queen, forcing the queen to go back. Queen b8 played, and now it is the move knight to c3. That is excellent play, guys. Excellent play. The pawn on b4, it is not really a problem in general. The pawn on a7 is really weak. Has a lot of problems. Even if the b file will be opened, there are ideas to come in with the rook to b7. And if you win that pawn on a7, well, that a pawn on a6 is really far advanced. So black instead went here for the move knight a8. Once again, that knight is searching for a safe square. Now, black does hit the bishop on c4. And you may probably just drop back with the bishop to f1, which is safe, because if you do take on b4, there is bishop takes a7. Jacobsen went instead for the move knight e4, so that both the bishop as well as the pawn on b4, they are well protected. Knight b6 played. At least for the moment, the black knight is holding the queen side together. White is not able to launch its majority, but the bishop goes back to f1. I do like very much these bishops exerting pressure from long distance. What should black do? I think it's a very important moment. This is the moment probably to initiate the exchange of rooks, which is what Hikaru didn't do. He played rook a8. But if you play something like rook takes c1 and then follow it up with rook c8, you have ideas to get your bishop around to d8. That's why you want to exchange two pairs of rooks, so that the bishop can be rerouted. Instead, rook e8 was played here, but there is the move b5. And now this plan of trading off pieces on the c file is not really gonna work, because if you continue with that plan, you can exchange everything, and then white is gonna put the queen on a5. This is a very important moment because black is completely stuck here. There's nothing you can do. The bishops are really bad, and sooner or later white will find a way to break through. It's a long-term problem black is facing here. Instead of trading off the rooks, they follow the move f5, attacking the knight. But the knight is happy to come back to c3. And to be honest, at first it really looks as if black is doing sort of okay. But you have to keep in mind this majority. If black is going to exchange pieces, move the knight away, white's able to break through. Let me show you this. If you play knight c4, that's the move you would love to play. There's bishop takes, rook takes, and the decisive pawn break with b6, because the bishop is nicely supporting it. Pawn takes, a7, and this is looking awful. Now all white's pieces, they are there to support that a pawn. Bishop is taking on b6 next. Black's position is falling apart. So you see, black cannot move that knight away from b6. They follow the move bishop to f6. And well, there are various ideas. You see that the bishop is looking for some ideas to stir things up on that diagonal, causing problems against the knight and the rook on a1. But knight a4 looks like a nice solid move to challenge the blockading knight on b6. Rook takes c1, queen takes c1. Of course, you cannot take with the rook. The rook got to keep the knight defended. Rook c8, queen d2. Everything perfectly under control. If you do take on a4, you cannot take on b5. There's always this idea to go rook b4 and the bishop is going to be pinned. But still, this is something black should have done. But it's very important to understand why. Because here, in this line, which was all not played in the game, there's this plan to play f4, forcing the bishop to go back to f2. And then there is bishop d8. And then the bishop is going to replace the knight in its defensive task to set up that blockade on the dark squares. And white is better, but it's still a game. Now let's compare it with the game. Instead of knight takes a4, Hikaru played here bishop d8 right away, which seems to be even a sort of improved version, like you're ready to take with the bishop on b6. But the key difference is that now the f2 square is still available to the queen. And that is very important, because now with these three pieces, white is adding more pressure to that knight on b6. White's simply about to take as many times as needed to create a protected passed pawn. You don't want to take back with your a pawn, because then the protected passed pawn is going to be decisive. They're followed knight takes a4, rook takes a4. And here, if you do play bishop b6, let me try to illustrate my idea. You can simply take everything, and then there's the move a7 immediately, like queen b7, rook a6, and black's position is falling apart. The pawn on b6 is going to drop. You're trading off your a pawn in this case. This was all not played in the game, but it's a nice illustration of what white is aiming for, because the pawns on b6 and d6, they are both dropping. So with two passed pawns, white should be able to convert the extra material. In the game, after rook takes a4, they followed rook to c7, defending the pawn on a7, which was attacked now by both the queen and the bishop. But look now, rook b4, Now things are starting, guys. There is no blockade on the b6 square. There is this move f4, attacking the bishop. Is the bishop going away? Let's say if you go bishop d2, there's rook c2. That's not what you want, but what else should white do? Well, look at this. Bishop takes a7. Stunning bishop sacrifice. You cannot take with the queen. It runs into b6 and you're winning material as the rook is gonna drop. So you gotta take with the rook. And does white have anything concrete? Well, there's this move b6. And you see that the b pawn is nicely supported by both the queen and the rook. And the bishop on f1 is supporting the pawn on a6. Here, black is completely helpless. Rook a8 only move. b7 attacking the rook. The rook has only one square to go. Rook a7. Now, don't feel tempted to play here this move queen takes a7 with the idea to promote your b pawn, because black is capturing the queen on a7 with check. That would be a huge mistake, but of course that doesn't happen. Queen c2 was played, and white is taking now slow pace. That's so fascinating about this concept, is that these two connected passed pawns, they are dominating these two major pieces on b8 and a7. Black is completely lost here. g6 played, bishop d3, king f7, king f1. White is improving his position first before launching the decisive blow. Bishop a5, attacking the rook, but simply drop back with the rook, that's fine. Bishop goes back to d8. But how is white going to break through here? That is the big question. Queen b3, bishop a5, rook c1, interesting. Bishop to d2, attacking the rook. Where's the rook going? Everything on the c file seems to have been covered, but rook c6, what an amazing move. After a bishop sacrifice, now it's a rook sacrifice. And if you do take with the bishop, well, you take with the pawn, with check. That's why the queen is on b3. The king goes away, you put the queen on b6, and what a picture is this. 3 connected passed pawns. There's nothing you can do against c7. Even if you play bishop e3 to attack the queen, white will just play c7, and the pawns are decisive. An amazing line, which shows that the rook cannot be taken. Black played here first, bishop e3, saying that your rook is not doing anything here. But again, queen b4. Now the pawn on d6 is under an attack by both the rook and the queen. If you would take with the bishop on c6 now, d takes c6 doesn't come with check. But anyway, this c pawn is really strong. Like c7 is coming. Like if you do play bishop c5, for instance, attacking the queen, you can play c7, threatening to take the queen and promote to a new queen. If you play queen takes pawn, first give a check, ensuring that your queen will be safe. So the king got a move, and then you promote your b pawn. This is very nice play and must have been seen by Jacobsen. After queen b4, bishop c5 was played immediately. Queen to a5. So again, if you do take on c6, then the queen is supporting the new c pawn. King e7 played. Black ignores the rook, but now the queen comes in. This looks decisive, as if queens are coming off the board, then the promotion square is no longer covered. Black played here rook a8. That's a sad move. I mean, white can already simply take the rook, but why would you play it like that? There are so many good ways to play, and I really like the classy finish here by Jacobsen. He just exchanged queens. Queen takes b8, rook takes b8, and the final move of the game, rook takes c5, an amazing line, removing that very annoying bishop. The bishop was still covering the a7 square. So after rook takes c5, d takes c5, now the passed pawns, the connected passers, they are no longer stopped by black's pieces. Here white is breaking through. If you move the rook, you promote the b pawn or the a pawn. If you take the pawn on b7, it's a8 queen. And that means that after rook takes c5, Brendan Jacobsen managed to cause a huge upset by defeating Hikaru Nakamura with the move 1a4. Where do you see it? And especially nice for this game is that a pawn proved to be the decisive weapon for white to win this fantastic game. So very unusual fight. I really liked it. Very creative play by Jacobsen, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Make sure to give this video a like if you do like this video. And of course you can support the channel in many other different ways. Thanks for that, and see you soon again. Bye bye.